Welcome to this week's edition of the Dakota Angler 2-Minute Fishing Report. Well, you can definitely tell it's that time of year where Mother Nature doesn't know what to make up her mind, if it's cool, warm, you name it, summer, fall. But it's kind of the best of both worlds, quite honestly. But that cooler weather definitely has allowed the water temperatures to drop dramatically. And that started to turn on the bite in many area lakes, which is, again, more things to look forward to as we see the cooler temperatures on ahead of us for the upcoming weekend. As far as the report is concerned around the area, again, like I said, the bites started turning on in many of the lakes that we haven't talked about in a while. But in the northeastern part of the state, the lakes that produce walleyes included Waubay, Drywood, Bitter, also Hazelton, Dry Lake by Clark, Big Stone, Pius, North Rush, Opitz, as well as Cochrane. Down the southeastern part of the state, the lakes included Thompson, Dry Lake by Willow Lake, Sinai, a few being caught at Ponset, and that's kind of encouraging that it's showing some sorts of life. And then also Whitewood, 81 ponds, and you got to navigate the weeds there. And then Madison, Vermilion, and Twin. And remember, Twin is a trophy lake. The Missouri River continues to, be off and on, but the bite is definitely better, let's say, Chamberlain North. To the south, it's been pretty sporadic, to say the least. Now, what are guys doing to catch the walleyes around the area? Again, a lot of people are still trolling with crankbaits. That's to be expected to look for those active fish. Also, some guys are still bottom bouncing with slow death and crawlers. A lot of people now are snap jigging, whether or not you're talking about using the jigging wrap or the hyper rattle or the shiver minnows, but there's even more people that are snap jigging now with swim baits, and we'll talk about that during Todd's Tackle Tips. Now with the perch bite around the area, with the cooler temperatures, that's starting to allow the perch to school up a little bit, and the bite's starting to take off there, but it, again, has been sporadic with the temperature fluctuations. The lakes that produced perch this past week included Big Stone, Waubay, Pius, Bitter, Whitewood, and that bite's tapered off a lot. There, a lot of pressure, to say the least. And then also Thompson, Dry Lake by Willow Lake, as well as Clark, and then a few being caught at Ponset. Now, what are guys doing to catch the perch? Nothing special. A lot of drop chain lures like the Pilkies or the Haleys. Also tungsten jigs like your ice fishing jigs underneath a bobber have worked really well. So a lot of people are jigging with one rod and a dead stick with the other. As far as bait is concerned, a lot of waxworms and maggots, and we have plenty of that on hand here at the store. But with the cooler water temperatures, I think you're going to start to see a lot more minnow bites taking place over the next, let's say, week or two. So again, keep that in mind. In this week's edition of Todd's Tackle Tips, we're going to talk about snap jigging, but maybe not in the way that we've talked about snap jigging before. We're not talking about using the hyper rattles or the jigging wraps or the shiver minnows, even though that people are still doing that this time of year. Great presentation for this time of year. But more and more people now are switching over to snap jigging soft plastics, swim baits, in other words. And what we've come to realize that a lot of the larger fish now are responding to that quick snap jig, and then as it falls, are striking at that point in time. Now, some of the plastics that a lot of people have been using that haven't gotten a lot of attention lately is those slimmer swim baits, not with the heavier walleye assassins, but more the slimmer presentation, a little bit more like, the Zoom Fluke works really well. Also, something that a lot of people don't realize that we carry up is the big bite baits. These slim minnows are perfect, and they come with a number of different colors. The white, the pink, and the purple have been fantastic, to say the least, this past week. Have been working really well. Also, the jerk minnows from Kalen's also work very well with this type of presentation. Now, what type of jig to use? The Neon Moon Eyes from VMC work quite well. But what we've had the best luck with lately has been with the DV swim jigs from Northland. These things, I don't know if it's just the profile of the head, but I think they provide a little bit more erratic movement than some of the other jig heads do. So again, when you team these up with these plastics with the right jig head, you have an unbelievable presentation. So again, these slimmer profile swim baits have really been the ticket this past week when you fish them a little bit more erratically than you normally would. You just don't throw them out and reel them in. You snap them back into your back to your location and reel them in at that time. So again, keep that in mind. Not only snap jigging with the harder plastic baits that we've talked about, but using these slimmer profile swim baits work quite well, to say the least, when they're teamed up with the right jig, whether or not it's the DV or the Moon Eye. And now it's time to take a look at a few photos that you sent in to me this past week. And remember, folks, if you'd like your photo included in next week's version of the 2-Minute Fishing Report, please send it to me. Send it to Todd at DakotaAngler.com or post it to our Facebook wall. Well, as I mentioned during the report, it definitely has felt a lot like fall, especially this past weekend. The early part of this week, not so much. But again, this coming weekend, it's going to feel a lot like that as well. So how far away can ice fishing be? For many of you, if you're an ice fishing enthusiast like we all are here, not soon enough. But if you want to scratch that itch for that ice fishing season, all you need to do is come to the Dakota Angler Ice Institute November 10th through the 12th at the Sioux Falls Arena and Convention Center. That's going to give you the opportunity to take advantage of some fantastic deals on some of the great items that you're looking forward to purchase this upcoming ice season. So again, invite your family, friends, neighbors, anyone that's interested in ice fishing. The Sioux Falls Arena Convention Center is where you're going to want to be November 10th through the 12th for the Dakota Angler Ice Institute. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call at 605-336-9132. Well, folks, that's this week's version of the 2-Minute Fishing Report. For Dakota Angler, I'm the owner, Todd Heitkamp, and as we say around here, fish on! We'll see you next week. And again, thanks for watching. Stay healthy, and folks, stay safe.